But before we start the meeting, it is traditional that we start this meeting with a short recitation of the Holy Quran, and then I will say a few words. For a short recitation of the Holy Quran, if I could ask Maulana Jameel Sher Khan to recite, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحج أشهر معلومات فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج وما تفعلوا من خير يعلمه الله وتزودوا فإن خير الزاد التقوى واتقون يا أولي الألباب ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم فإذا أفضتم من عرفات فاذكروا الله عند المشعر الحرام واذكروه كما هداكم وإن كنتم من قبله لمن الضالين ثم أفيضوا من حيث أفاض الناس واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم فإذا قضيتم مناسككم فاذكروا الله كذكركم آباءكم أو أشد ذكرا فمن الناس من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا وما له في الآخرة من خلاق ومنهم من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار أولئك لهم نصيب مما كسبوا والله سريع الحساب.
It is my pleasant duty annually to welcome everybody to the National Hajj and Umrah Health and Safety Awareness here at the House of Lords, the launch. For 13 years now, Phil, we've been working together with the British Hujjaj Association. And just to remind people who've not been here before, I do this every year to remind people that about 13 years ago, the Labour government at that time initiated the first and historic, the Hajj delegation, which I had the honour of leading to Makkah, to Mina and Muzdalifah and Arafat. On behalf of the government, but more importantly to serve the people, 25,000 British Hujjaj who go there. I want to pay tribute to Khalid Pervez and all his team, British Hujjaj Association, and with round of applause you could say actually. Thank you just to get the mood going, because he really has worked. And to be honest, all his dedicated team that you see here at the front, these are people who have been working tirelessly for the last 13, 14 years that I've known, without any pay. This is voluntary work, committed to raising awareness, because Hajj is one of the 5 pillars which is very important for Muslims, but yet we Muslims don't organize ourselves. We don't think about it before suddenly we wake up on one morning and we say, this year I'm going for Hajj. And then you get in touch with the tour operators, and there's a whole history of what happens. First of all, the health and safety issues are very important. Secondly, the Hajj operators, unfortunately, for the last 6, 7, 8 years, we've known that there has always being at least one or two. Let me very clearly say here, the majority of the tour operators are very honest and they do very good job. But there are one or two that are fraudulent, and it's always time to remind people to be aware of those fraudulent people who take the money and do the run-up. And the third and the most important, there are lots of issues, but because many people who go for the first time, their expectation is somehow that they pay for this package, that they will go and they will be looked after. Unfortunately, even many of the good ones, they take the money, but the services aren't there. And so there is some sort of expectation from people, and these tour operators will tell you, you know, this is once in a lifetime, you shouldn't complain, you should be just busy praying and just make dua and say nothing. Well, I always say, when you paid for it, you are paying good money, you need to expect good service. And if they're not done, I probably have political differences with lots of people, but I have to say that the Saudi government provides very good service in Mina, Muzdalifah and Arafat, even through difficult times. And I say this because when we have 50,000 or 100,000 refugees, or even people in any one event, it's almost impossible for us to... you saw the preparations that we did, we prepared for the Olympics. How for months and weeks and for years, for these 2 weeks that we were prepared. And we even drove out all the people from London. There were nobody there. And quite frankly, to have like 3 people from overseas, probably 3 million people from overseas, and 3 to 4 million locals that sort of come from the Arabian Peninsula, these millions of people in Mina, Muzdalifah and Arafat, and who are provided services with, you know, food, water and everything. It's quite a thing to see. But having said that, there are challenges and we need to work together. We need to prepare people for meningitis, which Dr. Saab will guide you later on, health and safety, for what to expect, what not to expect, and also how to deal with it. So it is my pleasure to be hosting this now with Lord Hunt now for the last few years, showing our dedication, because this year I understand that there has been a launch of an official delegation, and I'd like to know from anybody who's here who this official delegation is from, because it certainly isn't from the government, because the government has stopped doing it. And I received some information that there was official delegation, and it was at a weekend. Our colleague Lord Patel was launching this, and I haven't seen him yet. I will ask him, but I'd like to know if anybody is here to tell me more about this official delegation. Whoever it is, I have no problem. Whoever's leading the delegation, because I only did it for 1 year out of the 13, it is much better to sit here and help people than to even sort of like go through all the difficulties in Mina, Muzdalifah and Arafat. Having said that, we just need to prepare our community and we need to provide the services. So with those a few words, I am now, if I may, take this as one of my first duties to ask Lord Hunt, the organisers, and anybody else to, first of all, do a photo shoot here, and then we'll do presentation of awards, and then Lord Hunt to speak. Because, yes.
You ready? Sir? Take a label.
Oh, of course. Your Excellency, you come. There you go. Okay. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Bismillah. Wait.
We're doing that.
Straight to the back. There you go. Maybe here. Yeah. Okay. Okay? Is everybody there? Look, smile. Thank you very much for this.
The Muslim community throughout the country is unanimous in condemning the fraudulent and illegal activities and the inhumane and degrading treatment from rogue Hajj tour and travel operators. The perception amongst these operators is that they're untouchable and above the law. And it's common practice for the package travel and tour legislation 1992 for violation of this legislation. The trading standards are responsible for the enforcement of this legislation. However, unfortunately, despite a number of complaints from distressed victims, a great number of cases have been unable to secure legal action against rogue tour and travel operators in the UK, and many of them are still operating freely. Now, the community is very frustrated at the lack of visible and decisive action to implement the rule of law by trading standards departments across the country, with the exception of Birmingham Trading Standards. They've made every effort to implement this legislation and emerged as a leading authority in the UK to uphold the rule of law and help protect innocent fellow citizens from exploitation in Birmingham. We're very proud of the success and achievement by Sajila Nasir, head of Birmingham Trading Standards, and her team. Therefore, on behalf of the British Muslim community, we'd like to present this award to Birmingham City Council Trading Standards in recognition of the excellent work that they achieved.
Thank you. I'm just going to say a few words. Thanks, a bit like being at the Oscars. Thank you so much for this award. It means a great deal to the officers of Birmingham Trading Standards who've worked so hard in such a complex matter to bring these criminals basically to justice. And we'd like to thank ABH because of our relationship with ABH, we've managed to get people from the community to actually come forward and talk to us. They trust in ABH. ABH assures them that trading standards will help, and now they're beginning to trust trading standards. So that relationship is key to us moving forward in this issue. Year on year, we've become more successful in clamping down and prosecuting and taking legal proceedings against people, package tour operators, and we've moved from waiting for the people to make complaints to us to proactively going out and looking for road tour operators. And our exercise last year, when we identified 14 tour operators, only 4 of them were compliant with the law, and that's resulted in about 14 legal proceedings being instigated against people. So you can understand the scale of the problem where there were only 4 out of 40 that were compliant. Our achievements have been well publicised, and that means now that more and more people are coming forward to us. We even have had people calling us from Saudi Arabia and asking for assistance, and we've been able to assist them over the phone. We're now having people making complaints roughly once a week to us. 5 years ago, we wouldn't have believed that that was possible. And I want to just take you through one case that we currently have that's going into court, which explains why it's so essential for us to take this, make these interventions to make sure everyone's safe. We have a female complainant who booked her tour to Umrah through the internet, asked all the right questions, was assured by the package tour operator that everything was in order, only to arrive in Saudi Arabia, to be detained by the police in Saudi Arabia. She couldn't speak the language. There were irregularities with her paperwork and with her visa. That then resulted in, as I said, her being detained. Luckily, she came back to England because the alleged offences were a very serious matter in Saudi Arabia. But the key to this is that was her life savings that she used for that trip. She was a single mother. She didn't get her money back, and she did not perform Umrah. So her whole experience was ruined by a package tour operator in Britain. We are there to protect those sorts of people, and hopefully with the help of ABH, we're making real headway into this. So thank you very much for the award.
In relation to the second award, we'd especially like to commend the efforts made by Mohammed Tariq, Senior Trading Standards Officer from Birmingham. who's shown a sincere commitment towards a cause of helping and protecting fellow vulnerable pilgrims and citizens who, many of whom are old age, sick and disabled, and have suffered from many hardships and mental anguish and exploitation for many years due to the violation of UK law at the hands of rogue and unscrupulous tour and travel operators. Mohammed Tariq is one of the key members of Birmingham Trading Standards, who's provided the community with valuable assistance to address the issue of fraudulent and illegal activities. And he's been a great source of strength and encouragement for achieving our common objectives to protect fellow citizens. Therefore, on behalf of the community, we'd like to take pleasure in awarding Mohammed Tariq in appreciation for his enthusiasm and dedication to the service of humanity.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sajila and Tariq Sahab. Thank you for the great work you do, but obviously this issue is just not related to Birmingham and that area. This is a national issue. So you can imagine when Sajila talks about only 4 out of 40 complying with the law, how many of these nationally are lacking behind, and how many other trading standards need to do more work. So, I mean, for all that, I'm going to ask much more senior than me and much more experienced than me, my colleague, very good friend, Deputy Leader of the Labour Group in the House of Lords, Lord Hunt, to speak.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here today and to say a few words of welcome. I'm sorry I've got to go, but I'm asking the first question at question time this afternoon at 2:30, so I need to be there. I think that it's 13 years ago when I first came to a meeting in Birmingham to talk about the issue of safety and health, and of course since then thousands of pilgrims have gone from the UK on pilgrimage, and indeed the number grows year on year. In that time there have been vast improvements, and the campaign about health immunisation has undoubtedly had a major impact, and because of it many lives have been saved. But we know that we can't be complacent. I think there were 2 people lost their lives last year, and it's very, very important that although we meet every year, that we don't become complacent, that we don't underestimate the need for programmes like this to get this point across to the many pilgrims who go from the United Kingdom. So it's a great pleasure for me to take part in this event, and of course the event in Birmingham. One thing I've learned from speaking at these various occasions has been the issue of tour operators. Like Lord Ahmed, my good friend, I very much agree that most operators are responsible. But as we've heard from the Birmingham Trading Standards Department, there are enough instances where this is not happening to know that we have a serious problem. When we first debated this in Birmingham a few years ago, of course no action had been taken against any operator. And I remember that we fortunately had representation from Birmingham Trading Standards Department. And I think from that moment it became clear that we had a department that was going to be prepared to be serious. And I think we should pay great tribute to it and for the work they've done. In Birmingham, we believe we are the leading city in the UK, and where Birmingham leads, others should follow. And I certainly hope, in relation to trading standards, that will indeed happen. And I think the fact that we have, a representative from Buckinghamshire here today is great, and I'm sure that the message will go forward. Just wanted to say one other issue actually, and that is that in the last year or so we have had we not had great challenges about the coherence of British society and the place of different groups within it. And it's something that I said at our launch in Birmingham 10 days ago. It seems to me that no greater symbol of the need for us to be tolerated and integrated is the fact that there has been this real effort by the previous government, and I hope by this government, and other agencies, to actually support pilgrims on this great journey. And I think that for me, it is a symbol of the kind of country that we are and want to be. And that's why I feel particularly proud to have been invited again here today. And I just want to end by echoing your comments about the association and its committee. One thing I know is that getting this organised year on year is not easy. It's a lot of hard work. I've come to know many members of the committee as friends and colleagues, and I just think that the work they do needs to be recognised. And I think that if we were going to give another award, I think I'd give it to the committee, because I think they do a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil. That's great. Now, do you want to take over, or do I continue? I carry on. Pre-travel health awareness for Hajj pilgrims, Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed, MBDA. If I could ask you to do your presentation, sir.
Sure. I know that you got 2 hours to listen to me. Is that right?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Right. I'm a chairman of Muslim Doctors and Dentists Association. Basically, I want to just highlight health and safety awareness. Why is it very important when you talk about Hajj? The issue is, when you are talking about Hajj, you are talking about overcrowding. Anybody who knows Hajj understands what overcrowding is. And it's also, majority of people are going there are at extreme of their age. So you will see children, but most importantly you will see people at very old age. Maybe the last thing they want to do in their life is Hajj. And then include into this people from every part of the world. So you are exposed to so many diseases due to overcrowding, and then you got extreme of temperature. So if you're not aware of health and safety, you are in a real difficulty. And for some people, this is the only one lifetime opportunity to do Hajj. So we need to save those people. Now, how are we doing currently as far as health and safety awareness is concerned? It's non-existent among public. What about doctors? Well, I am representing doctors. It doesn't exist a lot. What about other multi-professionals around doctors, nurses, pharmacists? No. Why do I know this? Because we have worked with them and we know it's not very well understood. So who is going to do it? I think it's up to us Muslims to spread the message to even Muslim doctors and non-Muslim doctors who may not be aware of the issue. So what MDDA has done, is they targeted doctors by evening meetings. Colleagues sitting next to me here, they have worked with doctors, making them aware. My friend Naveed Saeed has published this leaflet, and then some people were complaining it's too much to read, so he printed this one, and then he also published in a magazine article for people to read, and that is quite good article, and also small leaflets to take home, which will cover public, pharmacists, doctors. So pharmacists and doctors, we tried to cover the evening meetings, and we were funding through Muslim Doctors and Dentists Association. What about public? Our members have gone on TV, radios. Mosque is very helpful there to provide us venue and also crowd to talk to them. So we are talking. The problem is, the issue is huge. And I am going to suggest the future. The future is in the hand of associations like Khalid Pervez is working with, British Hujjaj Association. I think unless we recognize them and we support them, and when I say support, professional bodies like us should be supporting them. So we supported their program and we provided vaccination opportunities. We had Wasif here sitting, our General Secretary, who was vaccinating free of charge to Hajis. His wife was vaccinating ladies there. So what I'm going to suggest is that professional bodies like us should recognize them and support them. And also, I just wondered if government could do something about it. And this is where we need venues like this and support like Lord Ahmed is doing, is to facilitate their program and help them and recognize them so that they could work out in the community and not just concentrating on one city or two cities, but really provide the same service throughout the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very short 2 hours there. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry. I should have asked Farhan Khalid to, because he's already done the presentation. It's 88 presentation he's going to do now.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you a general introduction to ABH. If you can see the slides, then good. If not, then you'll be able to hear what we're talking about. Basically, ABH was set up for the welfare and well-being of British Hajj and Umrah programs. Every year, over 25,000 British programs form the Hajj, and over 100,000 for the Umrah, which is the lesser program throughout the year. Now, what we found was there was accumulated evidence that British Hajj programs experience significant difficulties and problems due to ignorance and lack of awareness of pre-travel health and safety precautions, as well as understanding the needs of good preparation for this journey. Now, the tragic accidents that took place during the Hajj pilgrimage in the recent years, where a substantial number of pilgrims lost their lives, including over 12 pilgrims from Britain due to stampede, and over 20 tragic deaths from Britain due to meningitis outbreak, caused a great deal of concern and grief amongst the community in the UK. The ABH was then set up. It's been over 13 years, I think, and it's a national charity. The executive committee consists of senior professionals from all walks of life, including senior doctors, and formed in 1998 to address this issue. Now, since the formation of ABH, ABH has been working hard to protect these over 125,000 British Hajj and Umrah programs who make the pilgrimage every year by raising awareness of pre-travel Hajj and Umrah related health and safety issues. Now, this awareness is through high-profile multilingual publicity campaigns, through press and electronic media, and organising conferences, seminars and educational training programmes, as well as producing and distributing relevant informative literature. ABH has played an important role in setting up a vital link between relevant government departments and the British Muslim community. It's been working closely with these departments to coordinate the efforts for the welfare and well-being of British Hajj and Umrah programmes. ABH, another one of its great achievements, has been successful in containing the spread of meningitis, which has been a real cause of concern and caused over 20 deaths amongst British Hajj returnees in the UK in the last few years. And through these efforts, there's been substantial savings in NHS resources. Here you'll see a picture of our very own Lord Ahmed taking his meningitis vaccination a few years back. Again, at one of our conferences, and again showing the kind of publicity we put forward in order to spread this vital message. Looking very strong there, I have to say. ABH also provides counselling and advisory services on health and safety matters to the community throughout the year. And the activities of ABH are getting coverage in press and media around the world, helping to enhance the image of the UK as a multi-religious and multicultural society. I'll just take you through some of the press coverage we have received. And here's one quotation from the press. The seminars of ABH have gone down very well in programmes. There was a crying need for such type of seminars, and ABH is indeed doing a great job. Now here's an example of press coverage we received throughout the Middle East and Africa, talking about the Hajj exhibition. His example of press coverage in China in relation to a judgment forced against one of these road tour operators. Again, some more press coverage from Turkey, some more from Pakistan, some more from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, press coverage from India, press coverage from the Saudi Gazette. So as you can see, ABH has really been going places in terms of its coverage throughout the world. ABH's phone helpline is accessible to the public on a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week basis for information and appropriate helpful advice. ABH has also got its website in place, which you can see through here, which has got plenty of useful information, video, audio-visual, news and media set up for everyone for their Hajj and Umrah needs, and links to relevant departments through here. I'll just go through some of our supporters. Here you'll see Prince Turki Al Faisal, who here is addressing pilgrims at one of our recent conferences. We also luckily have Sheikh Sudais, who is the Imam of the Holy Mosque in Makkah, as one of our supporters. And he sent through his letter of appreciation for the recognition of the ABH's services to British Hujjaj and Umrah programs. Here we have His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, who's also one of our supporters, and sent through, again, recognition of ABH's services to the British Hujjaj and Umrah programs, and extended his warmest wishes to the British citizens who undertake the sacred pilgrimage. And here we have Jeremy Brown, Minister from the FCO, and I'd just like to read out a quote which he sent to us. I want to extend my support and endorse the work that the Association of British Hujjaj does in helping prepare pilgrims for Hajj. This event provides an excellent opportunity to inform British pilgrims of the health and safety issues and precautionary measures to take, ensuring that what will be the journey of a lifetime is a safe and fulfilling one. And here is a picture of one of our launches from previous years, where you'll see Lord Ahmed, Lord Hunt, Steve McCabe MP, Saudi diplomats, and many of our supporters launching the Hajj and Umrah Safety Awareness Week from a few years back. And again, some more pictures showing some of the work ABH has been doing. Very nice picture to end off. We continue to make every effort to fulfil the desired objectives of the ABH in the coming years, and will remain committed to this noble cause to provide services to humanity. Finally, I'd just like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our patron Lord Ahmed, and to Lord Hunt, who's now left us, and all of the members of Parliament who's been supporting us throughout this noble and humanitarian cause. The support has been extremely vital for helping serve fellow British citizens in the community. I'd like to give a big round of applause to Lord Ahmed, please.
And I should be asking for the same for you, Farhan, for doing it. Thank you very much. Now, the man you saw there, the handsome doctor who was giving me a meningitis injection, was Dr. Syed Raza Hussain. Now he's going to talk about meningitis awareness, which he does annually, and the importance of this injection and the legal requirements from the Saudi authorities. Dr. Saad, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Manoj. Ladies and gentlemen, meningitis is a well-known, notorious killer disease which respects no national or international boundaries. It is highly infectious and rapidly spreads from one person to another. It is literally incurable, and the fatality rate is very high indeed. Now, those few who do manage to survive through most intensive hospital treatment often end up with all the miserable sequelae, such as damage to the brain, kidneys, lungs, and the limbs, etc. Sadly, their quality of life is very poor indeed, I can assure you as a doctor. I must emphasize here and now that all this misery, disability, and death are preventable. My Lord, I repeat, they are preventable. How? Via a simple single dose of meningitis vaccine, obtainable from TB surgeries and other vaccination centers up and down the country. Now, over 2 million pilgrims will converge upon Makkah in Saudi Arabia from all over the world, including about 25,000 from Britain, to perform Hajj over the next few weeks. The Association of British Hujjaj, a national Hajj-specific organization, organizes high-profile publicity campaigns throughout the year via the press and electronic media, by special TV programs on various channels, and also by organizing seminars, educational training programs, distributing multilingual literature to raise awareness of pre-travel health and safety issues, as well as meningitis prevention amongst all the audience, and that includes the prospective Hajj pilgrims. Now here, I wish to extend our deep sense of appreciation and gratitude to the good ladies and gentlemen of the print and electronic media present amongst us here today. May I request a big hand for them, please? Thank you. Now, this is for their ongoing coverage of our efforts in this respect, all around the year, throughout the country. Now here, I'd like to include those as well. By that I mean those ladies and gentlemen of the media who, for whatever reason, have been unable to attend this event here today. But they do continue to provide us total support and coverage in this respect all the year round. Every year, an increasing number of people out of a population of 2 million Muslims in the UK will travel to Saudi Arabia. Since it will be an ongoing process, there is a desperate need to protect these travelers to avoid risk of any outbreak of meningitis, or for that matter, any other infectious disease by the Hajj returnees in the UK, which in fact, my Lord, has happened in the year 2000. And of course, most sadly, the recent past as well, a couple of years ago. Now, in the year 2000, some 40 cases of meningitis were isolated from amongst the Hajj returnees. They were all isolated in special hospital wards. They went through extremely intensive round-the-clock treatment. And sadly, still, in spite of all these efforts, sadly, 8 of them passed away. The Association of British Hujjaj has been committed to this noble cause of creating awareness of meningitis prevention to avoid the risk of recurrence of such tragic events. And that is one of our commitments, which, in fact, you are seeing as a part of it, of this event. My Lord, please allow me to quote an example to dilate upon this particular point, if I may. Just a few years ago, a 4-year-old girl was brought to my surgery as an emergency, and I would like your attention and forbearance precisely for a few moments, please. It's an extremely important point I'm trying to make. Just a few years ago, a 4-year-old girl was brought to my surgery as an emergency. I most strongly suspected meningitis. Immediate hospital admission via ambulance was organized by me, and it took several weeks of round-the-clock intensive hospital treatment to save the precious life of that little sweetie. Now, she has grown up to 7 years of age. I'm happy to say that. But a few moments you will know a bit more about it. But what has happened in the meantime? It has indeed appalled. I was indeed appalled to see her the other day. And I'd like to share my experience with you, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. This will abundantly focus upon you the need and necessity of timely meningitis vaccination. This little sweetie is alive today, thank God for that. But sadly, with a blind right eye, a very badly scarred face in spite of plastic surgery on 2 different occasions, her left forearm has been amputated to the elbow level. Her left foot has been amputated to the ankle level. And all this just to save her very precious life. What a quality of life she has got today, you may well wish to ponder upon for a moment or two. Her parents are extremely grateful, and so am I, to have her at least alive today amongst us. But feel very sad indeed, pretty obviously, and understandably. Feel very sad indeed to see her in such a state of body and mind. So, this was a typical example which hopefully has given you briefly but precisely the vital information highlighting the need and necessity of timely administration of meningitis vaccine. In conclusion, my lords, the key message to take home for you, ladies and gentlemen, of print and electronic media. Meningitis is a sure killer. I repeat, meningitis is a sure killer. Save yourself by timely action. Get vaccinated today. I repeat, get vaccinated today, because tomorrow might be too late, or indeed it might never ever come at all. I'd like to thank you very much, my lord, ladies and gentlemen.
Dr. Sayyid Raza Hussain, thank you so much. I think it's a very important message that sometimes people don't take it seriously. When you go to Hajj and Umrah, there are millions of people from everywhere. This is very often people don't really take it serious, and I've known sad deaths because of that. So earlier on, when we were saying thank you to training officers from Birmingham, I did say that this problem doesn't only just exist in Birmingham, but also around the country. And we are lucky, for the last 2 or 3 years we've had representative from the Buckinghamshire Training Standards Office. This year it's Kia Rebecca who's going to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ronald. I do feel a little out of my depth here with these people listening to me, but I did compose a few words, perhaps update everybody on the situation regards legislation and the way we look at enforcing the travel package regulations and other measures we've actually got to counteract fraud. So, Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for inviting me to speak. In the European Parliament, the package of consumer laws, known as the Consumer Acquiesce, has been under review. Sounds promising. So unfortunately, this has been continuing since 2006, probably as Lord Hunt will know. This was really with a view to creating a single directive to cover all consumer issues. And they looked at the impact and changes needed to this body of legislation, and it's been considered. Apparently there are more than 300 responses from consumer and business associations, member states, the European Parliament, the Economic and Social Committee of the European Union and stakeholders. It's within this mechanism that it would have been an opportunity to consider the sale of pilgrimage travel arrangements as unique, which they are. It's quite often quite difficult to fit this very special time into the travel package regulations and the mode of sale. So the travel package regulations are now somewhat outmoded, to say the least. I think my colleagues will probably agree. I hope they do. And there have been court judgments recently which have set precedents which mean that determining what constitutes an actual package travel, so it's covered within that regulation, is now more difficult for us. There's certainly the judgments were not in the favour of the consumer. So where does this leave us in the battle for fairness and redress for pilgrims? Well, I'm firmly of the opinion that the vetting of traders to gain approval for the supply of Hajj visas and a method of ensuring that it is not possible to distribute these visas to travel organisers outside the approval process remains still the best way forward. Along with this, we do have the Consumer Protection from Unfair Trading Regulations 2008 and the injunctive measures that they provide us, and also the use of the Fraud Act 2006 give us effective tools in the fight against fraud. These regulations make it an offence to actually mislead a consumer, to omit vital information pertaining to services or goods, and to indulge in aggressive commercial practices in relation to consumers. Trading standards departments are now far more competent in using these measures, so we certainly look at the whole remit of what we can use to fight fraud. In considering the issues around travelling on Hajj, I did question Mr Bruce Trelaw. Bruce is the Trading Standards Institute lead on travel and travel law, and I asked him just to confirm if our thoughts were correct. And he said to me that we do have the tools to tackle this, but what we need are the complainants. We, the law enforcers, do understand the complex reasons why many feel that they cannot or should not question the treatment that they receive during this holy time in their lives. We equally appreciate that the trusting nature and devotion to duty of pilgrims may draw those who would take advantage of this. The time of Hajj is a critical point in the life of Muslims, as we all know, and at a time which may render those who would be far more resilient at any other time, may render them vulnerable to exploitation. Law enforcement bodies such as councils and the police, we now have a far greater appreciation of these issues, far greater than ever before, and we would ask those who can speak out to speak out, to bring justice to those who would take advantage of pilgrims. So our plea for trading standards, just to reiterate what my colleagues have said before, help us to protect others by eliminating the road and bringing the security back into this, the greatest of journeys.
Thank you very much. And I think the message is very clear, both from Buckinghamshire and also from Birmingham, that whilst the majority are doing wonderful work, there are those still rogue traders who concern us all. One of the organisations that actually deals with travel agencies, ABTA, and Darryl Norton, a business support manager, is here to say a few words in relation to this.
I would really echo the comments that have been made by the trading standards officers earlier. The thing is to look beforehand as to whether a company is licensed, look for things like the atoll, that they've got an atoll licence and a certificate. Check if they have been licensed by the Saudi authorities, or indeed see if they are ABTA members. We have a code of conduct which will assist if there are difficulties that they've had or the poor service that they've had with that. We also have a dispute resolution system which should aid with that. But I would encourage members of the pilgrimages to actually if they do find difficulties, speak to their trading standards officers, speak to the police if necessary, where they go away. I know that the City of London police are actually very concerned about this whole area, and they produce their own leaflets about travelling to the Hajj. And there we are. Thank you. There we are. There we are. And to report these things, it's as the colleague said earlier, it's no point in just saying, oh well, maybe it won't happen again. It will happen again. You should refer it. I know that some trading standards officers are constrained in what they can or cannot do with regards to taking these people to task, but it shouldn't put you off. I would strongly encourage you to refer them to the appropriate authorities in that respect. And indeed, but a lot of it is preventative, is by looking to see that they've got the things in place, that they are giving you the right information before you travel. And if they're not providing that to you, then don't deal with them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for this information. And, you know, again, for some people it may be something that we know and we hear about it every time, but we say thank you to all the media people here from all newspapers and TV channels who report it back to the community. It's really the community that needs to be aware. And one of the largest communities, Muslim communities in the UK, if not the largest Muslim community, is the British Pakistani community, and where most of the travellers and the Hujjaj come from. And His Excellency the High Commissioner is not here, but he has sent his Minister Communities and Welfare, Mr. Salaskiani, so I will ask him to say a few words.
Thank you, my Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my first time to attend this meeting, and I'm really grateful to attend this meeting because that is awareness to create for the community who goes every year for Hajj and for Umrah. And I'm very grateful to the doctor also, because they also said they provide free services to the community who go for Hajj and Umrah. I think you will get the reward from Allah. And it is most important for our community every year, because more than 125,000 pilgrims goes to the Hajj. And there is need for the precautionary to take the measures, because when they will come back and they will look very nice, and also when they travel from the United Kingdom and they need the basic things to provide them. And I also grateful to the associations area that they are also providing the community to all, I think that every year and to organize the seminars, and also, and my thanks to the patrons, Lord Ahmed. I can only say that the most popular Lord in the United Kingdom. And my Lord is everywhere, wherever any Muslim community or for other community, and for the human basis, any need of any problem, he represents the community, and we are proud of him. And I hope that inshallah he will carry on his responsibility, duty for the community, and we pray for him. Thank you very much, my Lord.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. I was a little late because we had a meeting with the Commissioner of Metropolitan Police earlier on to talk about ethnic minorities and Muslim communities, stop and search, lots of training issues, recruiting and retention of Black and Asian police officers, about communities, and McPherson report as well as Stephen Lawrence report, and lots of other issues. So this is the right time to ask a police officer whether they've arrested anybody from these rogue traders. So we have Asif Sadiq from City of London Police.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I'd like to just cover a few key things. with what the City of London Police are doing with regards to Hajj fraud. We're very, very keen to investigate these frauds, to take them forward, but I'd echo what my colleagues have said. We need more reports to actually come in. The City of London Police, any reports which come through to us, they can be taken by our National Fraud Intelligence Bureau, or you can put them through Action Fraud. Once we get the reports, then we can assess them and pass them over to local police forces across the country. But we need the community to come forward. That this is a crime, this is something we're going to deal with. We're very, very keen to bring these people to justice. Already this year, we've already started getting reports. I can't actually comment on the reports we've got in, but we are starting to see a lot more reports coming through. So please don't suffer in silence. Please come forward, report crimes to us. We are understanding the issues which are affecting the community, and we want to take this forward. The other key thing is just to be aware that when you are looking for a package, if it seems too good to be true, it probably isn't. And just be careful. Make sure you have a paper trail so you can, if things do go wrong, we can investigate it. We can follow where your money's gone, and go with reputable companies, people who are registered with IATA and various other bodies. But that's all I have to say. And hopefully, inshallah, we'll see a lot more reports coming through. But please have confidence in us to investigate these cases.
Thank you, and we do. Thank you very much for that. I'm also pleased that the Association of Muslim Police Officers also works with us, and they obviously are aware. Not that we don't have confidence in the police force, we do. But having officers who understand the sensitivities and also the background, it makes it much easier for somebody like yourself to know the background and also to help.
We've also actually added officers from the Association of Muslim Police attached to NFIB and Action Fraud to give their views and to be able to take part with this because they have a better understanding of the crime which affects our country.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, our other diplomatic representation is from the Embassy of Brunei, Mr. Haji Samali bin Haji Adam. I'm sorry, would you like to say a few words?
Sorry, actually, on behalf of my Excellency, because he couldn't come, so just attend to how this committee. That's
well, thank you very much for coming and thank you for your support. I'd love to have some of the Brunei money for some of the. If I, through this committee, if I can request a meeting with your ambassador, invite him for High Commissioner, invite him for lunch at the House of Lords, and we speak about some of the services that British Hujjaj are providing. And I know that your country's been very generous in the past with other organizations, and we can do with some help. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the speakers.
Can I thank Excellencies from various embassies, my colleagues who escorted us from Birmingham and BBA for taking time. I'm sure our two organizations will extend hand in hand each other in years to come. I thank Darrell from AFTA, all the colleagues from Catering Standards. Please keep working hard. We need your help. Anything you need from IBH, we are there. And I'm sure we will work in partnership to elevate your element in this society. I thank Kasif from London Police. Farhan, well done for your presentation. All the printing and electronic media, thank you for being here. I believe you support us. We need your support because you are the people who can pass our message to a vast majority. And please help us to create this awareness. But Masood, thank you for being here. My old colleagues at ABH, Executive Committee, thank you for your hard work. And last but not least, our host, our patron, Lad Ahmed. Thank you, sir. Let me inform you is that Lad Ahmed do not want to take a lot of credit. But when you see a building, nobody sees the foundation. Lad Ahmed is a foundation for ABH. Without his help, we would have been here today. It would have taken us a long, long time. And our colleagues from Birmingham Training Center, they just popped in. Thank you very much for your hard work. Keep the mission on, and I'm sure ABH and Birmingham Training Center will work hand to hand to develop this slogan. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody, for attending this launch.